Good afternoon, everyone. This is NorvellCentral coming back at you with another YouTube video. At the time of the recording, I have 473 subscribers, and I just want to thank everyone for all of the love and the support. If you could, be sure to hit the subscribe button if you enjoy the content. If you have not followed my Instagram account at NorvellCentral or my Twitter account at Central Norvell, I have included a link tree at the bottom of the video's description so that you can follow these accounts. My Instagram account currently has about 11,570 followers, and my Twitter account has about 2,200 followers. But let's go ahead and get straight into the reason why you're watching the video. Mike Norvell, he landed another talented transfer. He certainly is the king of the transfer portal with the #1 rated recruiting transfer class. And Florida State secured the commitment of West Virginia senior wide receiver Winston Wright Jr., who has one more year of eligibility remaining. He could have two potentially, but he did say that this is going to probably be his last year. The coaching staff, they continue to add talented playmakers to their wide receiver room. Wright Jr. has about 129 receptions for 1,338 yards and 7 touchdowns during his career with the Mountaineers. And he's also a dynamic kickoff returner where he had 50 returns for 1,236 yards, a 24.7 yards per average per kickoff return, and 2 touchdowns. And to put those return statistics into perspective, former defensive back Greg Reed, who was known for his ability as a kickoff returner and a punt returner, he had 63 kickoff returns for 1,553 yards, a 24.7 average per kickoff return, and 0 touchdowns during his time with the Seminoles. So that is something to kind of keep in mind there of the dynamic ability that he actually brings for Wright Jr. But Florida State, they've secured 9 transfer portal prospects with UCF junior linebacker Tatum Bethune, who had 108 total tackles, 5.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 2 interceptions, and a forced fumble. Albany redshirt freshman defensive end Jared Verse, who had 52 tackles, 11 tackles for loss, and also 9.5 sacks. Illinois, also they added Illinois redshirt sophomore wide receiver Deuce Spann, who averaged about 24.8 yards per catch, and Louisville redshirt sophomore cornerback Greedy Vance, who had 36 total tackles, 7 pass deflections. Oregon junior wide receiver Micah Pittman, who had 38 receptions for 547 yards and 2 touchdowns with the Oregon Ducks. Arizona State redshirt sophomore wide receiver Johnny Wilson, who had 18 receptions for 243 yards and 1 touchdown in only 7 career games. He's a 6'7" wide receiver, can probably play the tight end position more than likely. Wisconsin redshirt senior offensive lineman, he was the Caden Lyles. He was the 2021 preseason Remington Trophy Award watch list. He appeared in about 34 games for the Badgers, and he was a very consistent offensive lineman for them. And also, lastly, that a lot of people forget about is the Lamar Jr. offensive tackle, Bless Harris. He's 6'4", 295 pounds. He played about 7 games at left tackle, and he's a very experienced tackle, but he's got to get more experience under his belt right now. Overall, I understand this much transfer prospects, they shouldn't really be sustainable, and Florida State should attain more prospects from the high school ranks. But right now, Florida State needs about as much leadership as they can, especially veteran leadership in their locker room, because they only had 3 seniors that were starters last year in their finale against the Florida Gators, and that was Devontae Love-Taylor, Jermaine Johnson, and also Keir Thomas. And all 3 of those were transfer prospects that Mike Norvell brought to the team. And I expect Mike Norvell to continue to acquire that talent with transfer portal positions such as offensive tackle, defensive end, running back, quarterback. And I'm not saying running back and quarterback are desperate needs, because I do think we have some talented pieces there at running back and quarterback. But bringing in, an experienced offensive tackle that can take over one of those tackle spots and not put so much pressure on Darius Washington, and also Robert Scott can be effective. Also being able to not have Quayshawn Fuller or Derek McClendon or Dennis Freak coming off an injury, being that defensive end, the other defensive end across from Jared Verse could also be beneficial. And then, we know about Ja'Shawn Corbin declaring for the NFL draft, and you have Trayshawn Ward that's there. You also have Lawrence Toafili that's been dealt with a little bit of injury there. He's a little bit smaller on the smaller side. You also have DJ Williams, that you don't really know what he has. He had limited playing time last season, tried to bulk down a little bit more, and we'll see how that plays out. They really want to add one more guy, and Jahmyr Gibbs was that guy for them, but unfortunately he went to Alabama, and you can't really blame him. But Florida State is looking for that running back prospect there. And then lastly, you look at quarterback, and I know Jordan Travis is a tremendous player. and they talk about how important it is for his confidence to keep going with him and riding with him because they really do think he's an exceptional quarterback. They also said the same thing about AJ Duffy. He's a sponge. He can learn from everyone. And Tony Tokarts today had talked about his media session and how important it was for that quarterback position to keep, bringing that sense of competition. And Tate Rodemaker, don't sleep on him either. He's a very strong-arm quarterback, and I think that he can be a very valuable piece in this offense by year 3 or year 4. And overall, I think those are the 4 positions that you really have to hit on. And I think offensive tackle and defensive end, I think, are the most beneficial right now for Florida State to be able to grab in that transfer portal. I would like to thank everyone for watching the video. I hope you all enjoyed my video discussing these transfer prospects that Florida State is going to be acquiring. And I want you to be sure to leave a comment down below and let me know who your favorite prospect acquisition was. I hope you all have a great rest of the day. And as always, go Noles.